Welcome to Munich, the HiFi show in 2023. I'm sitting here with John Devore, the famous manufacturer of beautiful and high-end speakers.
Hello.
We're in Munich now, and we were just wondering what we might talk about. And I told you just one of your videos, what I found most impressive was where you described your lifetime hi-fi equipment.
Right. Confessions of an Audiophile, I think is what it was called, yes. Yeah. I was, from as early as I can remember, I was an audiophile. So I was a little kid audiophile. And as I think I talked about this a little bit in the video, but I was the kid who had the speakers positioned up in the corners of his room. I made mixtapes. I made, cassette tapes. I made the mixtapes for all of my friends in school. And so that obsession, passion, however you want to describe it, goes all the way back. So it really is sort of, it's part of who I am.
I remember that you also showed some of your equipment. And I thought, wow, this old school, this vintage hi-fi that had some feeling. I mean, maybe the younger people cannot really understand what this magical touch of hi-fi had in our days, maybe.
I definitely feel like hi-fi equipment has an appeal, obviously, as a machine to give you beautiful music. But hi-fi equipment also, at least for some people, and me included, it has a beauty of itself as an object. There are obviously modern hi-fi. You can have just a touch screen, or you can have a modern hi-fi where you don't ever touch it at all. You just use your phone and it talks to the devices. But for me, there's an interface. So my preamp, I like to turn the volume knob, and the volume knob has a great feel. The feel of that knob or the selector switch is an important part. It's a tactile feedback. Obviously, playing records has a huge advantage in that way over streaming something from your phone. It's also one of the reasons why I still love cassette tape. I love cassette tape. A cassette deck is a marvel of mechanics. The door opening, especially a really high-end one like a Nakamichi, the just pushing eject and watching the way the door opens. Does it come out first and then tilt? Is it motorized? Can you push the button and have it motorized? It's just that stuff that I do think you're right. It's probably lost on a modern young audiophile because there's very little now that is mechanical. Much more of it, a much higher percentage of it is just pure electronics. You touch your phone and the next track will come on, and nothing mechanical is happening anywhere in the system other than the speakers. The speakers have become the only last mechanical device in a system like that. So for me, the touch, the interface with it is a very satisfying part of it.
I mean, your speakers also look like a bit. They have something like a vintage touch in a positive way. Is that the intention also for you to design speakers, the look of your speakers?
The look of the speakers is very intentional, for sure. They're not intended to look vintage. I think maybe it's better, it's easier to describe it as sort of, I don't want anything to be shouting at you from the speaker. My intention from the very beginning, from when I first started the company more than 20 years ago now, is I wanted the speakers to be discreet. I wanted the speakers to more likely end up in somebody's living room than somebody's listening room behind a closed door. I wanted to, I don't something that's just flashy and it's screaming high tech all the time. Every time you look at it, it's, I didn't want anything like that. I wanted it to be very understated. I wanted a furniture type of feel when you looked at it and interacted with it. And really, it boils down to it's the thing that you're most often looking at. If you're sitting down and you're listening with your eyes open, there are the speakers right there in front of you. And I'd rather not you think about the speakers. I'd rather you be thinking about what the speakers are playing for you. So understand. Yeah.
I mean, on the other hand, you also have your Gibbon series, which looks a bit more, may I say, conventional?
Yeah, more contemporary, yeah. But still understated. It's not flashy, yeah. But you're right.
But if I think about your speakers, I always look in my imagination on the OrangUtan. How do you pronounce it?
Orangutan, yeah.
Oh, okay. That looks much nicer in viewers.
The orangutans are. That's what I'm going to be known for sure. Yeah. But my first speakers were all Gibbons. They were all that original style, with the black front. You know, the black front was designed so that the woofer and tweeter were a little bit hidden. You know, again, it was part of being sort of discreet about the overall design of it. The black mixed with the wood, in a similar way to the orangutan style, where the orangutans have a dark cabinet and a wood front, the orangutans have a dark front and a wood cabinet. And when you have shapes like that, it breaks up the silhouette in the room, so it doesn't look like one big object. It tends to, it tends to blend into a background a little bit more. Again, it's ways of keeping them discreet. Again, discreet in a room, so that you can have it in a room where you're living, versus a room where all you're doing is sitting there and listening, and everything else is closed out.
And I mean, and your latest baby and micro, they are even smaller and almost invisible. If you put the micro somewhere in your side furniture, then you can hardly tell where your speakers are positioned.
Yep.
It's very interesting. Is this something like a trend that people are asking for smaller speakers, or is this just your idea and you say, well, here is it, take it or leave it?
It's so the real goal with the micros was as affordable as possible. That was the main goal. So I looked at everything I could remove from the process of manufacturing. So with the micro, there's a lot of things removed. Most of the cabinet is removed. The port is removed. So the port is a certain amount of assembly required and extra parts and stuff like that. So that's not in there. Then there's no finish. So that the dark gray cabinet, that's the natural color of that material. So we've removed veneering, we've removed stain, and so we're literally just putting a seal coat on the actual materials. So by removing as many steps and as many components as possible, we were able to, without decreasing the quality of what's going into it, we were able to make sort of a smaller and smaller and more affordable.
But you still manufacture in Brooklyn, in New York?
100%. We make it in-house in Brooklyn, yeah.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to give the production maybe to Asia and let them build up your speakers?
Undoubtedly cheaper, yeah. But I'm not interested in doing that at this point. It's there's something, I think people are attracted to the idea that it's made in Brooklyn by us. I'm sure more than half of the speakers that you buy, probably more than 3/4 of the speakers that you buy today, are not made by the company on the front. They're made by a company, either a contractor, or some of them are even just rebadged existing designs. So that's definitely a part of the Devore Fidelity package. And yes, of course, it makes them more expensive, but it keeps it close to home. We literally hand build every single pair. I listen to every pair. The serial numbers are put on by me on every pair of speakers, so it's there's a connection.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a dealer in Berlin, and we have a lot of companies who manufacture like you the speakers on their own location with care, and they are a bit more expensive, but I think they sound different. They sound better. I think you listen to those speakers and well, this is something special. This is better than the mainstream stuff you might get from anywhere. And I think this is maybe also a hidden secret of your speakers, because if I listen to a micro, which is not the cheapest speaker on the world, but I think you must be very careful with the matching of the amplifier and the CD player or whatever you have, because the speakers shows you in a magical way all the faults of the stuff you put in front of them. And I think this is maybe a sign of this the way of your way of manufacturing, that you still have all your eyes on all the details and see what happens. That's very interesting. John, tell me, how do you prepare a fair like this? Is the equipment the most special thing, or because Arndt told me that you listen to your music and you made a lot of effort to select the music you want to play here?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into doing a hi-fi show as an exhibitor. For me, the final result is making sure that when somebody sits down, they can forget about everything else and just sort of become drawn into the music immediately. So part of that, half of that, more than half of that in a hi-fi show situation is to make the room sound fantastic, but also be comfortable to be in, the look. So I always have a lower lighting in my rooms. And then the remaining part of that is to make sure that it's music that people are going to want to listen to. It's not going to be the same music that every other booth is playing you. And over the years, over 24 years of doing hi-fi shows, there's now some pressure on me to come up with music that sounds good, but that is that people don't know. And so it's always satisfying that every hi-fi show I have people pulling out their phones when I'm playing music, and they're hitting Shazam trying to figure out, what is this music? I don't know this, you know. So yeah, but that's it's a lot of work, but it's fun. You know, it's all music that I listen to. I'm not playing anything in there. I've got to listen to it too. So none of the music in there is torture, at least not for me.
Yeah, exciting. We'll just go inside. Thank you very much, John. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm excited now to listen to your equipment and to your music. Thank you very much. Thank you.